The city of Ibadan never sleeps. Its streets, the way's busy commercial hub, Bodija's sprawling market, Mokola's roundabout with its restless traffic, are alive with the voices of traders, keke drivers, and street hawkers. But behind the noise of commercial and survival, there are stories far more haunting than the cries of sellers in Oje Market. This is the story of Kunle Alabi, known simply as Kunle, a man whose life was torn apart by betrayal, first by his closest friend, Olawale Ajani, and then by the woman he thought would be his wife, Yetunde Akinyemi. Kunle and Wale grew up in the same neighborhood of Orita Meta, Ibadan. They weren't just friends, they were brothers in every sense except blood. Kunle came from a modest but stable home. His late father, Pa Alabi, had left behind a small house and a plot of land in Akanran. His widowed mother, Mama Abigail Alabi, raised him with discipline, warmth and Christian values. Wale, on the other hand, came from a struggling background. His father had abandoned his family early, and his mother was a petty trader who could barely make ends meet. It was natural that Wale spent more time in Kunle's house than his own. Mama Alabi treated him like a second son. Whenever she cooked amala with ewedu and gbegiri, a plate was always kept aside for Wale. Sometimes Kunle would sacrifice his own portion when Wale's appetite outgrew what had been prepared. Clothes, shoes, even a place to sleep, Kunle shared everything. Wale had no bed of his own, but in Kunle's room there was always space. Their friendship became the kind people in Ibadan admired. Neighbors often said, "These two are like twins God mistakenly separated." In his 20s, Kunle started a small but promising business, importing phone accessories from Lagos to sell in Dubai and Mokola. The business grew, and for the first time, he had money to support not only himself but also Wale. He bought Wale clothes for Christmas, gave him transport money when he went for job interviews, and never let him go hungry. People began to whisper that Wale was lucky to have Kunle as a friend. But fortune is fragile. After a few years, Kunle's business hit turbulence. Rising rent in Dubai, unstable supply chains, and a series of bad loans weakened his once thriving trade. Desperate to save it, Kunle sold his father's only land in Ankara, the very land Mama Alabi begged him never to touch. That sacrifice would later haunt him. Around this time, Kunle met Yetunde Akinyemi, a beautiful single mother who lived in Bodija. She sold clothing materials in the market, and her beauty was the talk of many men. To Kunle, she was more than beauty. She was hope, a chance to build a family of his own. But love can be costly. Yetunde had high tastes, and as a single mother, her demands were heavy: school fees, house rent, upkeep. Kunle, despite his struggling business, poured himself into her needs. He wanted to prove he could be the man she deserved. Unknown to him, Wale had been watching closely. Just when Kunle's world began to crumble, Wale got his breakthrough. His uncle, a wealthy businessman in the United States, sponsored his travel to America. The entire neighborhood rejoiced, including Kunle, who despite his trouble celebrated his friend's fortune with pride. But beneath the smiles, something darker was unfolding. Wale, before leaving for the US, had already begun an affair with Yetunde. Promises of dollars and a better life made Yetunde lower her guard. She lacked the discipline to resist Wale's charm, especially as Kunle's finances weakened. At first, it was secret midnight meetings in Bodija. Then it grew bolder, with Wale visiting Yetunde's shop under the guise of checking on her for Kunle. Mama Alabi noticed Yetunde's growing distance but never suspected the reason. Kunle himself was too trusting, too blinded by love and brotherhood to see the storm gathering. When Wale finally left for the US, he and Yetunde kept in touch. Money flowed from him to her, money Kunle never saw. While Kunle struggled to survive in Ibadan, Yetunde was living comfortably off the dollars of the man he once called his brother. Kunle waited. Days became months, months turned into years. He sent messages to Wale in the US, begging for small support to revive his life. Wale always had excuses. Work is hard here, bro. I'll send something. But nothing ever came. Meanwhile, Yetunde grew more distant until one day she disappeared completely. Friends later whispered to Kunle that she had left Ibadan to start a new life, allegedly sponsored by Wale. The betrayal was complete. The friend he sheltered, fed, and clothed had stolen not only his woman but his peace of mind. By age 40, Kunle was back where he started, living in his late father's house with Mama Alabi, surviving on menial jobs and small trading in Oje markets. His once bright eyes carried the weight of regret. In a bitter confession, he said, "It tears me apart when I remember how I gave Wale my food, my clothes, even my bed, yet he was sleeping with Yetunde behind my back. Now he is in America, living fine, while I remain here with nothing. If only I had known, I would never have called him a brother." Kunle blocked Wale's number, swearing never to speak to him again. His heart hardened, his faith in humanity shattered. Today, Kunle tells his story not for pity but as a warning. His pain is a mirror for many in Ibadan and beyond. How love without wisdom and friendship without boundaries can destroy a man. He no longer helps freely as he once did. His trust is broken, his generosity buried. And when people ask him about Wale, he responds with words heavy with both anger and prayer. The money he is proud of will one day dry up. Karma is real. I may be poor, but I sleep with a clear conscience. Wale knows what he has done. He knows the tears he caused. His wealth cannot wash away his betrayal. In the bustling streets of Ibadan, where life continues with the home of Okadas and market women, Kunle walks quietly. A man marked by betrayal. He regrets selling his father's land. He regrets trusting Wale too much. Most of all, he regrets giving his heart to Yetunde, who chose money over loyalty. The story of Kunle, Wale, and Yetunde is now whispered in corners of Bodija and Dube as a tale of how friendship and love can turn into the deepest scars of betrayal. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share for more views. Have you been betrayed by anyone, or you know someone betrayed? It's so painful and heartbreaking, I know, but just try to heal and move on. It's not the end of life. Life goes on. Thank you.